Yo, what's up, everybody? How are we all doing today? It's your boy Main back with another episode of the Order Book. Crypto is down. Stocks are at all-time high. And some of you might be wondering, what am I doing about it? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing. In this specific order, I'm crying, puking, and throwing up all at the same time. It is fucking absolutely just fucking horrendous being a crypto bull for the last 9-10 months. It's been brutal. It's been brutal. But we're going to make the best of it. We're going to talk about some scenarios. Unfortunately, price is kind of doing what I thought it was going to do. I think things probably get a lot uglier before they get better. It sucks. It's not probably what most people want to hear, but for months now, I've been talking about, stocks being more entertaining than Bitcoin. And for many months, I've talked about the likelihood, in my opinion, strong likelihood that the bottom's not in yet. And this has just been a, corrective move. So we're going to cover all of that as well as a bunch of stuff that we have in the news. So let's get into it. As always, I got my boy Cody in the charts. So if you have questions, things you want me to look at, I'll do my best. But because prices are down so bad, are down so bad, we're going to spend a good amount of time going over Bitcoin and kind of my downside scenarios, which we've done a ton already in these streams. So if you're watching these videos, you're following me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and all these places, and you still don't know what my views are on Bitcoin long term, you have not been paying attention. But I will reiterate them once more, and we'll go from there. You copying Mike Majalak? I don't know what that is. In repping UNLV. I have no idea, bro. I don't know who that person is. And this jersey got sent to me by accident. I ordered a different jersey and this one showed up and they just told me to keep it. I didn't even know. I don't even think I know what UNLV stands for. University of Las Vegas, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, let's get into it, okay? What's up, everyone in the chat? What's going on? What's up? What's up over on Kick? I see you over there as well. So, guys, Bitcoin. We're going to start with the big old bitch coin, butt coin, stupid, dumb coin. I've been talking for a very long time, as I've said, in the past, that I think there's a very strong likelihood that Bitcoin comes down and takes out this low, right? Ultimately, my plan has been very simple. I laid this plan out several months ago, and the plan was simple. You take your fib from the low to the high. We throw on our 78.6, 70.5, and our 61.8. This is where I want to buy spot Bitcoin, okay? Here. However we got there, I didn't care. I've been super clear about the monthly being in a downtrend. I've been super clear about the weekly being in a downtrend, and that this move, no matter what people on Twitter are telling you, even though Hyperliquid has gone up and Lighter looks good and ZEC has gone up, this move on Bitcoin has been corrective. There's nothing in this move on Bitcoin that has told us this was anything but a bounce into a lower high. I said this looks just like this. It looks just like this. It looks just like this back here. Okay, it looks like a corrective move in a high time frame downtrend. The question was not whether or not it was a corrective move. It was how high was the bounce going to go. Now, I gave pretty clear and straightforward levels for you guys to look at, right? If we wanted this to be anything but what it is, which is a leg down, price needed to break above here. Like this is our down leg, just like this was our down leg before, from here to here. Okay, so this bounce, we didn't know how high it was going to go. I wanted it to go up to here, to short, if you remember. It never happened. Okay, same thing here. I would have loved to have shorted this higher. It didn't happen. This is all it got. It topped out right in the fair value gap there. So for now, it's looking pretty much confirmed that this was indeed a lower high. Now, I'm not saying it's time to freak the fuck out and it's all going to zero. I do not give a shit that Michael Saylor sold. I don't care. I don't care that Michael Saylor sold. I don't care that Hyperliquid and ZEC are going up while Bitcoin's going down. I don't care about any of that. All I look at is the chart itself. And the chart itself has been telling us the same story for over a decade now, that Bitcoin operates in these 4-year cycles. And if you go look at prior Junes, right, we're playing out almost identical to what we did back here, right, where we made a low kind of in February, right? We made our low in February here. We made a low in February here. Then we took that low out in May, okay? Come down, sell in May, and then maybe we get a little bit of a bounce in June, and then we're probably going to roll over again, right? Same thing happened back here where we had kind of a, low put in the spring and then a pullback in the summer, but then this ended up being a rally. But like, it's very typical that the summer months are bearish for crypto, or at the least choppy and sideways. But in terms of the 4-year cycle, we're right on plan, right? We're right on plan. Here's your top 4 years later, okay? Or sorry, excuse me, a year later in Q4 is your bottom. Okay, 4 years after this is your next top. A year later in Q4 is your bottom. 4 years after this is your top. A year later in Q4 is your bottom. So from a timing perspective, and even from a price perspective, we're doing kind of exactly what I've been talking about for a very long time. We're still respecting the 4-year cycle. Now, whether or not we get another pop up here, price rallies, we bounce, we oscillate during the summer, it's irrelevant. My thought process has remained the same, and I've been super consistent. I believe you want to just start buying spot Bitcoin in Q4 of this year. You could even start in late Q3, September, October, November, December. I want to be a buyer of Bitcoin because I believe we will be in the bottoming process. Now, is Michael Saylor selling potentially something that expedites us to a lower price? Sure, but I'm not talking about price right now. I'm purely talking about time. Purely from a timing perspective, Q4 of this year is when I want to be buying. From a price perspective, you can go find charts. I've posted this chart a year ago, almost 10 months ago, saying I think Bitcoin is really good value between 38 and 58K, or I've been saying, kind of 40 and 60K, just to round the numbers up, right? That's just your Fibonacci pullback from the bear market low to the all-time high. Every time we've come down here on Bitcoin, it's been deep value. Regardless of whether it's the Pico bottom or if it's even, it's not about being the Pico bottom. It's about being close. Okay? It's about being close. Same thing back here. Here's your bear market low. Here's your all-time high. Look where price bottomed. Would you have been pretty happy last cycle buying between 17 and 28,000? I think the answer is yes, right? How about the bear market before that one? Look where price bottomed. Would you have been happy buying between 4,500 and 7,700 before Bitcoin went to 70K? I think the answer again is yes. So that is my game plan, and it has not stopped. It has not changed. Have I taken trades along the way? Of course, but I think I've been one of the few people on Twitter who's been extremely consistent that this does not look like a bottom. If it is a bottom, it's got to shift structure. And thirdly, and most importantly, I think the bottom from a timing perspective occurs in Q4 of this year. And from a pricing perspective, I think any price below 60K arguably is good value. Now, Michael Saylor selling is no different to me than FTX imploding. FTX did not blow up here. FTX blew up here. Okay? Usually the worst thing that can happen happens near the end of the bear market, not the beginning. Okay? So Michael Saylor becoming a seller is going to have some downward pressure on price. Not only because is he selling and that hurts sentiment and people are like, okay, well, if Saylor's selling, what the fuck is Bitcoin? I actually, in theory, would like Saylor to own less Bitcoin. But that's regardless, or that's another tangent for another time. Regardless of that fact, the other side of it, I don't think anyone's talking about is Saylor's been the only buyer on a lot of this way down, right? And on the way up. I mean, the guy's average price is in the mid 70Ks. He's been buying Bitcoin since 10K. Like, it does not get more crypto than Michael Saylor being down $6+ billion when he started buying Bitcoin at 10K. Oh, there's a huge spider in my office. The fuck did that come from? Well, there's a fly in here as well. If the spider can kill the fly, I gotta kill this thing, guys. Sorry. Oh, first shot, bro. Absolutely murked him. Now there's spider guts on my wall. Ew. Sorry, guys. I'm a talented man, okay? I'm a talented man. I'm fucking spitting game, and then I'm murdering insects. I probably should have left him to eat the fly, but the fly is harder to catch. Anyways. It doesn't get more crypto than Saylor literally being the guy who has been buying crypto, buying Bitcoin since 10K. And he's down $6 billion. Like, that is crypto 101. You buy so poorly that your average price is so dog shit on an asset that goes up and to the right for such a large amount of its life cycle. You've been buying for years and you're now somehow down $6 million. And you've created this product that seems unsustainable. Like, he's either got to turn off the dividend or he's got to sell Bitcoin. I don't see any way out of this, at least for the time being. That being said, I think we are a lot closer to the bottom than people realize, both from a price perspective and a timing perspective. I think price could go down another 20 to 30% very easily. But we're already, 60% off the high. So even if we go down another 20, 30%, that's only like, we're down, we went as low as 50% off the high. Another 20 or 30% from here is only an additional 10+% from the high. Okay, so again, I think a good amount of the downside is in. And I think from a timing perspective, we're getting a lot closer than people realize. And from a sentiment perspective, it's perfect, right? All the same people that were yelling at you that we're back, the bull market is back on because Hyperliquid, ZCash, and a few other altcoins went up and Bitcoin was putting in a corrective high. Now it's rolling over. They're now all doom posting memes about how crypto's dead and it's so fucking over. And oh my God, Saylor's selling. Like, if Saylor sells a little more and we get one more leg down, the few remaining people that are in the space that weren't already wiped out in October, they're toast. They're toast. The vast majority of people online have no idea what they're talking about, and their opinion and bias goes whichever way the wind blows. There's no consistency. There's no passion. There's no aggression. There's no discipline. All right, that's a fucking meme. Anyways, like, there's just no consistency or follow through in their analysis. And honestly, I don't care, because and I don't care what you guys do either. I share my thoughts on here, but what's most important is I execute with my money based on the stuff that I explain to you guys in these videos every single week. So when I tell you, hey, I'm looking at these trades, here they all are, I take the trades. When I say, hey, this is where I want to buy spot, this is what I think is going to happen, that's what I do. So I'm very transparent about my thoughts, and then I follow through with my own plans. I don't know how some of these other people manage to make any money or trade based on the fact that they're flipping their buys every day and they're on the wrong side of seemingly every single move. If I had to guess, it's because they don't trade at all. But again, not my monkey, not my circus. I don't really care. So that's it for Bitcoin here, guys, from a high time frame. I think Q4 bottom, I think very high odds we make a new low below 60K. And like I've been saying for months, the bottom is either this, right? Or it's like this, like it's lower. But it's the same thing. And you want to be a spot buyer in Q4. You know, I'm going to rephrase that. I'm going to be a spot buyer in Q4. You can do whatever you want to do. Okay? So, yes, it sucks. Stocks are going up. Bitcoin isn't. Bitcoin has been dislocated from the stock market since October. The correlation fell apart. So if you're still bitching and moaning about stocks and crypto not being correlated, you've had 9-10 months to get into these AI trades and these stock plays and ignore crypto, but you haven't done it, right? So at some point, like, okay, if you don't want to trade Bitcoin anymore, you don't need to trade Bitcoin. No one's forcing you to be here, dude. Go trade stocks. Go trade AI coins or stocks. Excuse me, coins. I'm so fucking crypto pilled. But I do believe that the time to be interested in spot Bitcoin is coming soon. And if we do get another 20 to 30% drop and we trade below this low here, okay, trade down to like 50K, maybe we trade down to like low 40Ks, you bet your ass I'm going to be looking to buy things like Hyperliquid. Because Hyperliquid has proven itself to be one of the strongest coins this cycle. That's a coin I want in my portfolio. If we get another 20 to 30% decline in Bitcoin, that means Solana is going to like $40. ETH probably goes to like 1,100, maybe even sub 1,000. And I'm going to just scoop up all of those buys. Okay? And I'm going to be very happy. And I'm going to print a bunch of money in spot, just like I've done every single cycle. So that's my plan. I'm not freaking out. Yes, it sucks. It's gay. Prices going down. It sucks. But it's not like I haven't told you this is probably what's going to happen. And not only did I tell you that this is the most likely outcome is new lows, last video alone, I was very clear. I said, I don't really think you should long. I said, you could maybe long here, right? But I don't think you should long. First, it was until we get a market structure break above here. Right? Then we never did. Then I said, well, how about waiting for a downtrend line break? Never happened. So there's been no need to try and long this dip here. Bunch of people got washed longing this. Then they're longing again. Wait for some kind of confirmation. Like this thing is selling off super aggressively. I think you can extend this downtrend line now. I don't think this has any juice left at all. Like I think maybe at this point, you know, we get a pop like this. Like at best, maybe it gets outside of this, but it seems less and less likely the further down that we go. But when we were up here, right, before this leg down happened, I said, if we get this, I might look for this, right? Or I might look for, you know, a move up above this high. But each arrow ended up with us going lower. We never got the trend line break. So this is just a orderly lower high for the time being. And that's what it continues to look like. So I don't think you need to rush into anything. If this thing's going to bounce, it will be obvious. It will be obvious. There will be a level that gets swept. There will be a reclaim of this downtrend line. There will be a low get run and then reclaim. From a seasonality perspective, I think your best bet is that we get some sort of relief in mid-June here, maybe into July, and then probably new lows for the rest of the summer, or at least choppy sideways price action. And then September, October, November, December, that's when I think you want to start paying attention and we look to reallocate. But it's just over and over. It's the same people online. It's the same archetype of person. They get sucked into this. They're long Hyperliquid and ZEC, and they think this time's different for Bitcoin. They start telling all their followers it's time to get back in, and it's like structurally nothing has changed. This still looks like dog shit. So that's all I got for Bitcoin. I have no intention of longing this thing right now. I'm not interested until we get a sign, right? Like, so a sign of relief. Maybe it's a big wick that forms here, and then we get some low time frame structure. Maybe we run the range low. Maybe we break this downtrend line. But just like I said in the last video, until we get a clue that the bulls exist, there's nothing to do here. Go look at other markets, go outside, enjoy your life, come back after summer. Okay? Mate, I enjoy your whiteboard videos. They keep getting better and better. So much info. Dude, I appreciate that very much. I just finished another one last night. There's going to be 30 plus videos in the series. We're about 10 in. So we're about a third of the way through. Hi, I am from India. Hi, I live in Canada. So in theory, I'm also from India. One thing I will say is some alts have held up well. That doesn't mean that the bottom is in. Quite conversely, generally, alts doing well are just a sign of Bitcoin weakness and dominance rollover, right? So like if you look at like prior alt seasons, it's usually when Bitcoin is selling off. It's not when Bitcoin is like ripping. You don't get alt season when Bitcoin is ripping. You usually get it when things are selling off and there's weakness in Bitcoin dominance. I think you could make an argument that like the others BTC chart. Is this the right one? Yeah, like some people are going to look at this and be like alt season, right? Like there's going to be people who look at this and think it's alt season. There's going to be people who do like this and be like, oh, bearish retest. Like you can chop it up a million different ways. Bitcoin dominance does look bearish. Like you have that going for you. Bitcoin dominance does look bearish. And so if this rolls over, yes, alts can pop, especially on any sort of upward movement on Bitcoin. Like there's a few alts that have looked good. I mean, ZEC is up today. Lighter, which is one we've been tracking for a while now. Right? Lighter is one we've been tracking for a while now. How do you not have that, bro? Right? We've been tracking this for a while. Remember all the diagrams? One sell-off, two sell-off, accumulation, move up. You want to buy in the discount, and then you want to buy the breakout. So this has been playing out exactly as we've been tracking it. So as much as Bitcoin's gay, there's stuff to trade. Some altcoins have been doing well, right? ZEC, we gave you the level. I gave you this exact level. Weekly retest. If it holds, it might go up. Hyperliquid, I gave you the level as well, right? Daily order block. Retest, pushed higher. Like this is the date of our last stream. I drew this exact level out last stream. I said, if it's going to go up, it's going to hold here. So I've been giving you guys ideas, opportunities. We talked about a trade idea on gold, which I'll get into. So there's stuff to trade. But if you're just like, hey, I want Bitcoin to go up, come back in late summer. Don't sit and stare at this thing. You're not going to miss anything. Even though this thing probably has a couple more trades in it before it eventually bottoms, like you do not need to wait for this to play out. Just come back in September. Pay attention then. You know, or go trade other markets. Nobody is stopping you. Everyone's complaining about crypto. Bitcoin's going up. Everyone complains about crypto. Some altcoins go up. People talk about stocks. They bitch, they moan. It's like, dude, like either fuck off, go outside, right? Or go trade the shit that's moving. I like to trade Bitcoin. It's my favorite asset to trade. So when there's trades on it, I take them. I'm not going to be chasing a bunch of AI plays and shit like that. It's just not really my bag. I don't really care. But if you're like, hey, I need to be trading, I want to spend this entire summer indoors trading, there's lots of stuff you can trade. There's lots of stuff that's moving. There's lots of opportunities. Bitcoin, no rush. No reason to be trying to force yourself into some shit here. Okay? Guys, Cody's taking chart requests. He's got a lot of these written down already. When is API coming to breakout Kraken? Soon-ish. We're working on a lot of stuff. Hi, I live in New Zealand. In theory, I'm from India. Man, is it becoming India? Soon the whole world is India. You know? We're all India, aren't we? Okay, so Bitcoin, guys, I think I'm like abundantly clear about my fucking thoughts on Bitcoin. If you don't know my thoughts on Bitcoin by now and have been following along as we've nailed this thing for the last 4 months that we've been doing this stream, I can't help you anymore. Okay, no longer you're no longer able to be saved, and you're just gonna have to give up. Just give up, dude. Literally give up. So ETH, same thing, right? This has been corrective. We even shorted on stream the Pico Schmico top of ETH with the SMT divergence, okay? SMT divergence, Pico Schmico top on ETH, we shorted it. I said, hey, it's got to get above one of these levels here. It's got to get above this. Doesn't happen, right? No break of the trend line, nothing. So it's just selling off. I don't see why you touch this thing until it sweeps this low at the very least, right? Or gives you some sort of reaction in here, just something. There's no reason to catch this knife, I don't think. You need to see some signs of bullishness. Ultimately, you guys know my plan for ETH, right? You guys know my plan for ETH. You take this low to this high, right? Big old range here. I'm like very interested in buying Ethereum. Said no one ever. If we sweep out this low or these lows here. Because I don't see how this is not good value for at least a move to here. Whether or not it's dead, it ever goes to an all-time high again, I don't care. If ETH trades in the low 1,000s, even below $1,000, I think there's a 2 to 3x punt there with size on an asset that, as much as it's been disappointing in its performance, it's traded very predictably, right? If you take this range and you move it from here to here, it even looks a little more compelling because then you're like, okay, we've got deviation, maybe this is the bottom, and then bounce up to here, and then we see. But this isn't what people want from a crypto chart. They want a chart that just goes up and to the right. But this has been a super clean range where for the last fucking 5 years, I would say is pretty fair assessment here. Last 5 years, you could buy ETH near the range low, sell it near the range high, and make money every time. Every time we've come into the lower 1/3 of the range, it's been a good buy. Every time we've gotten into the upper 1/3 of the range, it's been a good sell. Might not be the ideal crypto chart that you hold forever and ETH's going to 10K, but it trades predictably as hell. So yeah, you bet your ass. If we come a little lower here, we're starting to get to areas where even shitty old Ethereum is good value. And if Bitcoin drops another 30%, maybe more, maybe another 40%, right? 30 to 40%. You don't think ETH can trade down to $800? All right? You bet your ass it can. And I will buy it there as much as it pains me because I don't see how this, based on 5 years of data here, is not a tradable idea. I believe that it is. Okay? Someone said Bitcoin is going into the weekly order block. Yes, it is. Now, you're more than welcome to buy this weekly order block right here. However, if you look at this weekly order block, we are now trading well below the 78% retracement here. Looking how this candle looks right now, it looks like we're going to snap right through this order block and right through this low. So unless the bulls are able to buy this thing back up above 68 to 71K very quickly, very soon, and save this weekly candle, this order block will get invalidated. Your other option, and if you watch the whiteboard series videos, you'll know this, is you zoom in. You don't just blindly buy the order block. You say, okay, this order block is an area where price could being the operative word, react. Let me zoom in and see if there's any low time frame clues that the bulls are stepping in. So far, nothing on the 12-hour. So far in the H4, we said, hey, maybe there's a little sweep here. Next candle closed right through, so still nothing. No signs of the bulls stepping in yet. So if the bulls step in, it will be obvious. The low time frame will start showing a little bit of bullish price action. Then you can consider trading in this area. But until then, I'm chilling. I wouldn't touch it. Okay, so ETH, pretty straightforward game plan. This thing's going to break down along with Bitcoin, assuming that happens. And if it does break down really hard, similar to Bitcoin, I think from a time and price perspective, we're closer to the bottom than people think. Right? Here is your top on ETH. Okay? 1 year later, there's your bottom. 4 years after this top, right? Here's your next top. 1 year later, right? Pretty damn close to the bottom right there. 4 years later, there's your top. 1 year later, we're looking at bottom around the same time. The 4-year cycle remains undefeated. Undefeated. There's been zero evidence. Zero. All the people who clowned me and other cycle traders, clowning guys like Bob Lucas, being like, the cycle's dead. This is the super cycle. Where are all those people in now? They're either in jail, they were in jail, they're broke, maybe they're dead. Where's Trader Main? Where's Trader Main? Trader Main is still online. Sold his company to Kraken. Neck still above average in size. Married, totally not gay. Proof's in the pudding, boys. Proof is in the pudding. All right, so there's ETH. I'm going to quickly go through Sol here and then a couple other charts, and then we will get to the chart requests because I know you guys have a bunch of them. Solana is same as ETH in my opinion. Right? There was no buying, no support held. We're now below the range lows here. Looks weak, looks like shit, has looked like shit for a very long time. Right? Where do I want to buy Solana? I don't know. Probably soon. You could argue that we're already in value here for Sol. Do I think this is the bottom? No, because I don't think the bottom is in for the rest of the market yet. But overall, I think from a price perspective, we're approaching and already in an area of value for Solana for the next cycle. Doesn't mean you have to buy here, but I do think Sol, you know, between here, let me draw that better. Like here and here. I think next bull run, which is not as far away as people think, Solana in the $40 to $80 region, probably pretty good. It doesn't even need to go back to all-time high for $40 to $80 buys be good, right? $40 buys, $100 is more than a 2x. $80 buys, not even a new all-time high, is a 2x already. Could it go lower? Could we retrace even more of this move? Of course, anything's possible, right? And it's all going to be dependent on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin bottoms at 50K, you know, we're probably pretty close on Sol. But if Bitcoin bottoms at 35K, Solana might bottom, you know, closer to down here. I don't think we'll get below this 2022, 2023 low. That would be quite surprising. Is it possible? Of course. Anything is possible, right? But Ethereum managed to hold its last bear market low. I think it could take out its 2025 low, right? Solana, I think there's a pretty solid, chance it doesn't lose this low. If it loses this low, like, it's cooked. But I do think that, $20, $30, $40, totally a possibility. And you just want to be paying attention here, right? Pay attention once we start to get down to these levels. The time to be max bearish Solana and Bitcoin and alts was up here. I'm not saying you should be bullish here, but like if your bearish to bullishness is a, like here's your max bear. Okay. You guys know I love my arts. Max bull. So like back here, that was the time for your little, barometer, speedometer to be here. Okay. As I'm not saying you need to be max bull yet, but I think this, you should be, starting to correct a little bit. Maybe you're still bear, but not as bear. And eventually, as we get a little lower and we get a little closer to Q4, you need to start moving towards time to be max bull. That's all I'll say. All right, guys. So that's the big three. I might have to change out the big three for just like Zach and fucking Hype, because who really gives a shit about fucking Sol and ETH right now? That being said, I've laid out my fucking thoughts a multitude of times. Stock continuing to push higher. What can you say? What can I say? Hold all-time high. Assume it goes higher. We held all-time high. I'm gonna assume it goes higher. I gave you this level on every chart over the last few streams. I said if we hold above all-time high, just assume it keeps going. Don't try and stand in front of the fucking train. Right? Even the Dow, if it holds all-time high, assume it keeps going. Same with the Russell. If it holds all-time high, assume it keeps going. So we laid all of these levels out over the last 2 or 3 streams. Very straightforward, very consistent. If we hold highs, assume it goes higher. Do I think the stock market is overvalued? Do I think NVIDIA and all of these companies in the AI space are an incestuous clusterfuck, and that this bubble should pop? Yes. Does that mean I'm going to short? Absolutely not. I have no interest in trying to be Michael Burry, trying to catch the top, right? When the top is in, the top will be in. And until proven otherwise, you just remain long and strong until you're proven wrong. It's really that simple. With these types of moves, you know what I mean? Micron, we charted this last, I think this was 4 streams ago. I talked about the aggressive trend lines, right? I said, okay, what broke this trend line? It broke trend line 1. So maybe it goes down to trend line 2 and the daily demand. It came down, bang, ripped. Okay. And now look, it's like reclaiming the aggressive trend line. So now this trend line's dead. This trend line still exists, but now you have a new trend line here. Okay? And guess what? If it breaks below this trend line, the trade is the exact same. If it breaks down like this, I think you assume it's going to hold and go up again until proven wrong. Until there is a clear sign that the trend is changing and the party is stopping, assume the party keeps partying. Now, am I buying fresh stocks here? No. Am I shoring up a little bit of cash in my portfolio? Yeah. There's some stuff I want to talk about in the news section. Like, I've been consistently taking profit on my kind of long-term equities account, which is primarily in like ETFs and some single name stocks, because I do believe we're in some sort of blow off phase. But let's assume for a minute that this is the blow off top for the S&P, and we're going to have a Great Depression like pullback from here. Let's just speak hypothetically. All right, like how low could we really go? 40% pullback, we're still around 4,800 to 5,000 on the S&P, which sounds like a lifetime ago. That's like 1 year ago's price. So as much as like I'm like, oh my God, the 2008.2 is coming. Like we're due for a 2008 style correction. We're due for a, Great Depression style correction, a dot-com bubble correction, right? COVID-like correction, whatever it is. Eventually, price is going to be so high that even a 20 to 30% pullback is only putting us back to prices from like a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe. Ooh, right? So as much as I've been taking profit, I'm also like coming to the realization that like maybe this trade doesn't have an end. Maybe like the US is so dependent on leading in AI and reindustrializing the country on the fly. Like it has to. It has to. That it can't fail. And the US debt just, never really gets out of control. But then you get this whole idea about dollar debasement, being like, okay, well, if they can no longer service this debt, does the dollar really debase? I don't fucking know, man. But I'm not smart enough to know what's going to happen if this AI trade's going to blow up, if the stock market's going to go into some major fucking nuke. I don't know. All I can control is a couple of things. One, if I'm up a shit ton, I'll take some profit because the market will correct. Whether or not it corrects and goes into a recession or just corrects like these corrections, there will be opportunities to buy back with that money, regardless of how high we go and how deep the corrections are. So you can continue to just stack and rotate out. I also know that I want to own Bitcoin. As stuff gets crazier, I still believe in the premise that Bitcoin is this inflation-resistant asset. Is there risk with quantum and Saylor? Yeah, there's all these risks. But I still believe that while Bitcoin might not offer as great upside as it did in the past, we have diminishing returns. Like every cycle, the all-time high is less amplitude than the cycle before, right? Like from here, right, we went from 3K to 60K. From here, we went from 15K to 125. Well, we went from 70 to 125. Maybe the next all-time high is 160, but I still believe this is a chart that over time goes up and to the right, and it's something you want to own. I do still believe in America and betting on the stock market to go up and to the right over time. So that's just kind of how I'm playing it. I'm not some sort of soothsayer who knows when the thing's going to pop. I just know that a lot of people who are bears long-term on these markets, assuming these once-in-a-generation crashes are going to come, they are usually broke. Like they usually are, because there are going to be crashes. There will be these once-in-a-generation crashes. But like the name of the game is time in the market, not timing the market. So I'm going to assume that the party continues until something tells me otherwise. Do I think things are out of control? Yes. Is there a lot of alarm bells? Absolutely. But I'm not going to try and be the one who says the top's in. I'm not going to be Michael Burry who calls it right once and then spends the rest of his career calling, 55 of the last fucking 0 crashes. Long and strong until proven wrong. Bitcoin, completely other story, right? Like this is not in an uptrend. Equities are in an uptrend. A lot of these tech companies are in an uptrend. Assume that the uptrend continues. This is what happens when you short NVIDIA. Works for a minute and then you get smoked. What's a way better trade than trying to short one of these little dips? Buying all the dips. Seems to have worked nonstop for fucking 20 years. like it's just hilarious. So I don't know how this ends, but prices are going to be so high. The end of this rant is some of these numbers are getting so silly that even if we get a 20 or 30% pullback, we're not even going to be at that scary of a number, right? Like tops in today, we pull back 30%. We're not even trading below 5,000. We were trading at 5,000 1 year ago. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. What else did I want to cover here? Let's do near, ZEC, lit, hyperliquid. I'll talk about the gold trade that I'm in. I'm underwater right now, but that's okay. And then I'm going to do render, FET, INJ, KULR, ONDO, useless, RIVN, copper, ICP, link, and then sweet green. And that'll be it, okay? So these are all from the chat. So Cody's been taking your guys' request in the chat. So I'll go through all of those. So let's start with hyperliquid and near and stuff. So near, right? We discussed this a few streams ago. Swept out a monthly low, right? Swept out a monthly low. Then broke out of structure here. I know these drawings are messy, but this is kind of showing you what my expectation was we broke out of the low on the monthly. You have a really nice reversal pattern here. Low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. Why is this uptrend important and, you know, this little uptrend not important? It's because this one happened after taking out a monthly low. High time frame is everything. So when I pointed this out and I said, hey, we just took out the monthly low from all the way back in 2023. And hey, by the way, maybe this is what Solana does. Just so you know. Just so as you know. That would be $7 Solana. Anything's possible. I'm just saying. But near has an AI bend to it, right? So there is some kind of attention due to the AI trade that near, maybe this is this AI, you know, functionality, blah, blah, blah. Don't know, don't care. Do not know, do not care. All I know is that near took out a monthly low and started putting in bullish market structure and gave you multiple opportunities to get long. So one of the better looking coins for sure. We've had a nice big bounce here. We're up over 100% in the last quarter here. We're coming into some resistance here, though. Right? So this is where you want to see, okay, if this is going to continue, it's got to get above, you know, 340. So into some resistance for now. I'm not saying the top is in. I'm not saying this can't continue higher. I would love for it to continue higher. Right? But it's into resistance, and it moved up 100% off the low, right? So if you're more than 100%, 200% off the low, if you're just longing near now, I wouldn't say you're early. Not saying it can't go up, but just be aware. We took out the monthly low, and we were talking about this coin, you know, a month, 2 months ago. Now it's had a big rally. So you'll want to see it hold kind of this area, I would think, if it's going to go higher. Right? You got a nice fair value gap here on the 3-day. If this thing's really strong, it should just leg up again from here. So it's retested. It's pushing. Let's see what it has. ZEC, I gave you guys this level, right? Kind of is like a daily breaker here. Up candle for the down move that moved up to retesting. Put in a sweep right here as well. This could be it. This is one of the strongest coins on the market. I've been saying this for a while now. Every time Bitcoin's just doing this, right? Every time Bitcoin does one of these, though, there's been a handful of coins that have fucking done really, really well. ZEC, Hyperliquid have been a couple of them. So if price is going to bounce at some point on Bitcoin, which inevitably will, your best bet is to buy the coins that have been the strongest. That's the easiest way to do this stuff. So decent area here for ZEC to hold support. If it were to sweep one more time lower along with Bitcoin, I would consider looking for a run of those lows as an opportunity to long. If it fails to sweep these lows, then I think it rotates lower. Okay? So for now, it's holding demand. I'm willing to see it sweep a little bit lower on further BTC weakness. But if it loses this structure here that it's kind of putting in, these range lows, for anything more than a sweep, then I would think it rotates lower. But for now, this remains one of the strongest coins on the market. So when there's opportunities and you think things are going to go up, you're better off looking at this and, you know, Hyperliquid than you are at almost anything else. Hyperliquid, we gave you the daily order block, retest, last stream, another leg higher. Now we have a fresh all-time high, right? So we have a very clear, fresh all-time high on Hyperliquid. I think at this point, you only need about 3 levels, okay? First level is prior all-time high. This area in general should probably be support. The next level of interest, I think, is what we're putting in right now, which is going to be the new weekly range. What the fuck is that? So the EQ, the midpoint of the range, lines up very well with the prior all-time high. So we can see we broke up, retest, push. That's kind of what I'm looking for at Hyperliquid here. So kind of on the 3-day, even down to like the daily at this point. Like this is demand. Now, my entire feed over the last few days, rightly so, has been Hyperliquid bulls. Does that mean the top's in? I don't know. Maybe it means the local top's in. We made a new all-time high in a Bitcoin bear market. Is it retarded to take profit? Probably not. But I'm going to assume this thing goes up until proven otherwise. This is probably the first ugly candle it's had in a while, but it's only Tuesday. This candle can end up closing bullishly again, right? But if we get a retest of this 3-day order block, I would be looking for a higher low to form here. So this is around the old all-time high, around $60. If we lose the old all-time high and we lose the mid-range, then I think you can start targeting back down towards here, which is around $40 to $44, which would be kind of a retest of the lower part of this weekly range. Retest on daily breaker on hype. That's, yeah, same level as what I'm looking at, right? This is the daily breaker. I just marked out the order block. It's the same level. So you kind of want to see this retest that is looking like it's coming up here. You want to see this hold. If this fails to hold, then I think it rotates lower. And a rotation lower would not be surprising, right, with the state of Bitcoin. And then if Bitcoin rallies, then maybe Hyperliquid does one of these or something, right? Now, part of this money maybe is rotated into Lighter. Lighter's one of these coins that we've been tracking for many weeks. And I've given you guys a multitude of different trade ideas to get in this. First was the 5 stages of Main, right? Which is the aggressive sell-off, the less aggressive, then the more shallow sell-off. Now it's starting stage 4, which is the breakout. Ultimately, you had an option. You can long at the range lows when it's in a discount here. There was a sweep. There was a nice setup down here. So retest. Or you wait for the breakout. Now it's getting the breakout. So this thing looks good. This is one of the better looking coins on the market. I think a lot of these highs are eligible for targets. And if you look at this on like the weekly, right? It's coming in a resistance here. But if it gets through this resistance, you know, this thing's going well into the $2 territory. Right? So if it's able to grind through here, I don't see why it doesn't trade up above $2 next. And maybe this is some of that capital, right? Lighter is effectively a beta of Hyperliquid. I think that's probably a fair assessment, no? Can I explain what happened with Solana? I don't know what happened with Solana other than that the market's been bearish, bro. The market's been bearish and the coin is going down. I know we're getting a little long on the stream time here, guys, but I feel like it's worthwhile going a little extra today, just because we had the big correction here. What happened to my camera? Sorry about that. Fuck's going on? There we go. Okay. So we did hype, Zach, Lighter, and Near. Let's get over to some of these chart requests here. Render. I already covered Solana, guys. Like, so just rewind the video a bit. I talked about, yeah, Solana can probably go lower, but I don't think now's the time to be a giga bear on Solana. I think that made a lot more sense when it was above $200. It's starting to approach areas of value. Doesn't mean it can't go down another 20, 30, 40%. But, you know, you got to have a setup. I don't have a setup here. The setup was the sweep of this high. Weekly SFP, 12-hour breaker. That was the short on Solana right there, per my system. Bang on. We took this exact short, but we took it on Ethereum and on Bitcoin. So I just didn't take the short on Sol, but the shorts already happened. There's no trade here right now. You need to wait and see new price. Okay, let's look at render here. Main, I need a house down payment. Should I bail on some stuff I'm up on even though we nuked? Bro, I hate those kind of questions because there's nothing I can say that's a good answer. Like, what if I tell you to sell and then everything bounces? You know what I mean? What if I tell you to not sell and then everything goes lower? I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should buy or sell. I don't know what you hold. I don't know your prices that you're in. What I can say is if you're up on stuff recently, meaning you made money on ZAC, hype, etc., taking profit as Bitcoin looks more and more weak, probably not a horrible idea. But most importantly, what I am willing to tell you is buying something like a house, turning your money into something real, buying a car that you need, paying off some debt. All of that stuff is very, very important. And I think is going to have a greater impact on your quality of life than holding a coin that might go up more, or, you know, giving up some unrealized P&L or round tripping some of a trade. You're going to feel way better regardless of what happened to the coin. Even if it ends up going more, being like, okay, well, now I own a house. Like, you've turned something that is magic internet beans into a fucking home. You know what I mean? Or into a car, or you paid off some debt, or you helped out a family member. That to me is worth more than anything. That's my personal opinion. So do what you will with that information. But I have a really hard time, like, you know, telling someone to buy or sell because I don't know, right? Like, as you guys know, like I had the plan to short Bitcoin, weekly SFP, blah blah blah, and I fucked it up. And so I ended up holding a decent amount of spot Bitcoin from way higher than I wanted to, right? And I cut some of it on the breakdown, but I wanted to sell it up here. Because I know what I'm doing in life, I have money, I have this and that going on, I run a company, I got all this stuff happening. I knew I could sit in that drawdown and accept that maybe Bitcoin goes down to 40 or 50K and then I'll buy more and I'll sell it next go round. Some people might not be willing to do that. But if you're like, hey, I'm up a bunch of money and I can buy a house, I think buying a house is probably a pretty good idea. Just my opinion. I'm late to your channel. New sub here. Your whiteboard series is golden. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that. I've been working really hard on that. There's a lot more videos coming. The next video drops again. It's every Monday, boys. We're cooking all throughout the summer. Render. I think Render has another similar to Near. There's like an AI element to this coin. So I know that there's like an AI element to the coin, but I don't know if like, yo, what up, SEAL team? How you doing, G? I don't know if this is as compelling of a chart as Near, or if the tech with the most gratuitous of air quotes is as good as Near's. No idea. Now, from a pure chart perspective, right? Where are we in the 5 stages of main? Right? Where are we in the 5 stages of main? I would say we're probably in stage 3, maybe going to stage 4, right? So your most aggressive sell-off, less aggressive. Now we're going sideways. Now, potentially, this thing's starting to turn around. Right? So little bit choppy, a little bit ugly, but I think there's an argument to be made here that, you know, if the market, specifically alts, you know, are going to continue to catch a little bit of a bid, you know, order block, retest held. Here's your order block here, right? So you got kind of demand like right here. The one thing that would make me pause is we just put in a big weekly SFP right here. Okay. Yeah, we're in a 3-day demand, but the weekly SFP is apparent. So I think if you zoom in one more time, don't do this to me, bro. If you zoom in one more time to the H12 here, you have a pretty good level right there. That is your bias level, in my opinion. Because if we lose this level here, you now have an H12 weekly setup. This is your weekly SFP. This is your structure break level. So if we lose this, I think it's one of these outcomes. But if we can maintain this level, which also happens to be the 3-day order block, I think this can probably rotate to the range highs and start to enter phase 4, which is the uptrend. So stage 3 is sideways. Stage 4 is the uptrend. Okay, next up, FET. I mean, this literally has AI in the name. Shouldn't this be trading at like $100? Fetch.ai, and it looks like this. I think like verbatim analysis to what I just gave you on render. You know what I mean? Like, you could argue this hasn't consolidated sideways as long. Right? Like, it's just starting its sideways. But basically the exact same analysis. If it can hold this structure and start trending up out of this move, awesome. Something I explained to you guys a while ago is we have a bunch of altcoins, right? In various stages of the 5 stages of main, right? So there's the pain, less pain, chilling, kind of happy, and, you know, extremely stoked, doing fucking, you know, doing tricks on it. The problem you're going to have is a lot of these coins, right, are aggressively selling off, then slightly less aggressive, then they go sideways, right? And then they're here, and then boom, right? A lot of these coins are still here, and Bitcoin, some are here, and Bitcoin is starting to roll over. The problem that you have, right, is if Bitcoin really nukes and goes below 60K, a lot of these coins that are here and here are going to dump. And so that's why selection is so important, because some of these coins like Lighter, like Near, like ZEC, they've already broken out and been rallying. If the market is no longer ripe for rallies in altcoins and Bitcoin rolls over really hard again, a lot of these coins that look okay and look like they might be about to break out can just break down and continue to range for longer. And then they're just, that stage 3 just extends. And then maybe next go around, they get their breakout attempt. Does that make sense? So just because a coin says, okay, well, it's in stage 3, stage 4 comes next. No, stage 4 is what you hope comes next if you're a buyer, but it doesn't mean it has to. All of these pumps can fail, right? And if you're longing FET, which hasn't broken out yet, and then Bitcoin nukes, you're going to be like, you're going to have missed the move. You were in the wrong coin. Whereas ZEC, it was in stage 3 and then broke out and then rallied into stage 4 and is arguably in like stage 5. It's in a parabolic up move now. Some of these coins are not going to get out of here. Okay? So in terms of FET, obviously, it's got AI in the name. You think it should go up. I think it's the same analysis as render, to be honest with you. Like, it's put in probably a weekly SFP here. So there's your weekly SFP. Zoom in a little bit on this thing. Bitcoin is weak right now. This thing kind of has to hold right here, or, you know, it's going to stay in this sideways range. But if it can hold here and leg higher again, then great. This starts to look like a breakout. Main, how do you look for coins to short of the weak ones, have little volume, and the strong ones would be shorting into strength? I don't really short altcoins very much. I primarily trade Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. But the easiest thing to do, right, is look for coins that are weak against those majors. So if you want to know what coin to short, use cross-market analysis, right? Look at your coin versus Bitcoin. Look at your coin versus ETH. Look at your coin versus Solana. Look at your coin versus Hyperliquid. You compare the coins against each other and then determine what one might be the better shorting opportunity. Ultimately, my strategy, it's not necessarily about what coin's going to go down the most. I'm oftentimes just looking for what setup do I see the most clearly. And so if I see the weekly sweep on a coin, that's a coin I'm interested in looking to short, right? It's just because that's a high hit rate signal for me. It might be one of the stronger coins. Still, weekly sweep is a coin I like to short. But if you want to be able to identify what is weaker, you need to start doing cross-market analysis. Look at the coins against each other. See how they're reacting versus Bitcoin, versus ETH, versus Sol, versus the market leaders, right? Like right now, you could look at Lighter, okay, versus Hyperliquid. And you can see, okay, well, if this breaks out, right, and then the whole market rolls over, but this is going up, Hype is weaker than Lighter. You can do this with any two assets. So if you're trying to determine, to your point, which one do you short, this is one of the things you can do. Obviously, looking at volume and volatility and all that stuff comes into consideration as well. But this is what you should be doing. You should be comparing the coins against each other and against the market leaders to help you determine where the highest beta plays are going to be. This is a very interesting chart right now because Hype has been the strongest coin on the market forever, right? For seemingly ever. Well, if this really rolls, or if this really turns around, excuse me, right, and breaks out here, well, Lighter might be the market leader relative to Hype for some time. So you can do this on anything, any two assets. You can compare Hyperliquid to Micron if you want. Could you please shed some light on why EdgeX dumped so hard yesterday? I have no idea. I don't know what's going on with EdgeX. I have no idea why it dumped. All right. Cody's going to get mad if I don't get into the news soon. So I'm just going to rip through these last few suggestions, guys. INJ. Right? A lot of these altcoins, guys, if you looked at the monthly chart ever, which nobody does, tons of stuff took out key high time frame lows into monthly demand. So why did this pump multi-100% here? Over 100%. Monthly order block, monthly sweep. This even gave you a weekly breaker right here. Right at the low. 3 days even cleaner. Look at this. Break, retest, bang. So yeah, this is rip, dude. This has been a rip. What do I think about it now? I think, you know, got to be worried. Potential bearish retest territory. Right? Like bearish retest probably territory is coming up here. And I'd be concerned with how Bitcoin looks. But yeah, like I think you want to look for somewhere in here to potentially see a high form, and then you determine, will it be a higher low after that? I don't know yet. But nice rip out of the lows there, dude. KULR. Color. This does not sound familiar. Is this a stock? KULR. KULR. Yeah, I mean, I would say probably decent look here. No idea what this does, guys. Full disclosure. But big move into demand, right? Big sweep of the low, push higher. Big downtrend line break, right? Broke out of this downtrend. I think this is probably buy the dip mode. I don't know what this does. It has technology in the name. That's probably good. There's your range low. There's your range high. I think this is your new area of demand. I'd say probably buy the dip mode on this thing and target these highs here. All right, ONDO. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So ONDO breaking out of its range. Coming up into some resistance here. This looks very similar to the ZCash chart, in my opinion. All right, but that's a pretty clean level there. I'd say you probably want to see a hold here if it's going to leg up. So a lot of these altcoins look better than Bitcoin, dude. Like genuinely better than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin looks like shit, and some of these alts are holding up. What does that mean? I mean, it means maybe we have a little bit of fun if Bitcoin cools off, but then when Bitcoin rolls over, it probably means death and destruction. But yeah, ONDO, I think if you're not long already, a sweep of this low would be the only setup I would be interested in taking. If it starts closing below this gray box, I think we just rotate back into this range down here. I've already covered ZEC, so just go rewind if you want to see what that is doing. Useless. Isn't this the bonk guy's coin that he's just like doesn't stop talking about? Yeah. I mean, these charts are like a dime a dozen. They all look the exact same, right? They're all in different stages of either here or attempting to go into stage 4. Like this is every altcoin. Whereas before, guys, a month ago when we were doing these streams, I said all the coins are here or here. Well, now a bunch of them are here and here. And so there's some that are leading the pack. There's some that are lagging. And if you're in one that's lagging and the whole market decides to nuke, it's going to suck, right? So just be aware. Just because your coin hasn't pumped yet, it doesn't mean it's going to pump. That's all I'll say. Just because it hasn't pumped yet doesn't mean, well, everything else pumped, my coin has to pump. If we learned anything this last cycle, selectivity is way more important this go round than it has been ever before, okay? Thanks, Mr. Burns. I appreciate you. Leave those people in Springfield alone, you evil bastard. So this is kind of an attempt at stage 4 here, right? Let's see. Can it hold this breakout? It's attempting to break out of the range. Can it hold this breakout? If it can, great. Higher highs and higher lows. Keep longing the dip until proven wrong. This has been in an uptrend for 2 months now. So assume it's in an uptrend until proven otherwise. RIVN. Oh my God. You bought the wrong electric car company. I don't find this all that interesting. Like, I think if you really want to trade this thing, you really want to force an idea onto this thing. So like when I open up a chart, guys, if I can't see kind of what I want to see almost immediately, so I go to the high time frame, I look at it, and I'm like, okay, do I see a setup here at all? If I don't see something like pretty quick, I just move on, right? I think a lot of people have trouble with that. They have biases. They're like, oh, I need to be in a trade on this particular asset. If I open up a chart and I don't very quickly see the potential for a setup that I like, I just move on, right? So I don't see a crazy compelling setup here on RIVN. Like I could start drawing a bunch of lines on it that make it look potentially decent, right? You got a little over under here, kind of higher highs and higher lows. This is the monthly time frame. We swept that low. So like there's enough here that you could probably argue, you know, there's a setup, but like it's not screaming to me like this is a market I want to be in. I think if we break that level there, you have a setup, something like this. What the fuck is that? Like that would be what jumps out at me. Monthly sweep, 3-day kind of breaker block here. Break the high, pull back. That would be the trade. All right, copper. What's the best symbol for copper, guys? Someone give me the best symbol to look at copper. Not something I ever really look at. I'm a gold and silver boy. While you guys are telling me that, I'll show you my trade on gold, and I'll quickly cover what the 3 drives thing is, because I had a few people ask me. So the idea of like a 3 drives move, right, is when you literally have 1, 2, 3 drives, lower lows or higher highs. This is a super common price action pattern where you'll have something like this, right? And then a reversal, okay? So you have 1, 2, 3 drives, and then, you know, a reversal. And then this works into bottoms as well. So you'll have like 1, 2, 3. So all it is a pattern that shows like a low, a lower low, and a low, and then ultimate low, low, and then reversal. Really what you're seeing here is declining momentum. So we have a low that's only slightly lower, then we have another slightly lower low, and then price finally starts to reverse. Or we have a high with a slightly higher high and a higher high, and then it starts to reverse. That's all that the 3 drives pattern is here. So if you look, and usually this will happen into an area of resistance or support, and it gives you a setup. So on gold here, you can see we have, you know, a low, a slightly lower low, a lower low. Maybe this is 3 drives. I don't know yet. It won't be confirmed until we break out. Then it will have confirmation. So I took a long based on the sweep here. So we'll see if this actually ends up playing out. But like Bitcoin loves the 3 drives pattern. Like if you look at all the tops on Bitcoin, pretty much all of them, 3 drives. So like 1, 2, 3, lower high, bang. Same thing here, not as clean, but 1, 2, 3, 3 drives, then down. Oftentimes the 3 drives will line up with an RSI divergence as well. Here's kind of like a 3 drives to the downside, 1, 2, 3, and then the reverse. It loves the 3 drives, right? 1, 2, 3, pull back, 1, 2, 3, bounce. So it's just like a way to kind of identify momentum waning, right? 1, 2, 3, because the higher highs are getting less amplitude each time, and then it just pulls back. Lower lows are getting weaker each time, and then it just bounces, right? That's all the 3 drives really is. So there might be one playing out on gold. We don't know yet. XCU USD. I'll be full disclosure, I never trade copper. So it's at all-time high. So what are my thoughts? It's bullish. It's at all-time high. Unless there's an older chart. But this is as high as it's been in 20 years. Do I think it comes back down to here at this point? Maybe not. 10%, pretty juicy pullback. It kind of already retested that too. But that is an area to watch, right? Monthly order block here. But this thing's at all-time high, and it just broke out, right? This is not gold. This is not gold, right? Which is way above all-time high. This is not silver, which is way above all-time high and has parabolic. You could argue copper might only be here. So, there's an argument to be made that copper is going to catch up now, finally breaking out of its all-time high kind of zone here, similar to gold and silver, and this thing could just run. I would say long dips until proven wrong. I don't know if there's any HG's better. I don't know if there's any copper material requirements for any of this chip manufacturing shit that maybe is bullish for the price of copper. I don't actually know. But this is a 20-year, top here. And now it's rallying out. I think you just assume this continues to go higher until not. And you just look for order blocks and you just buy them. If it gets any sort of dip into an order block like you got here, if you get another breakout and then a pullback of the order block, you just long this until proven wrong. Same thing as gold, right? This entire way up, it was just long dips. Any dips you got, you just longed. And if we got back below the old all-time high, which we never did, right? All-time high, held. New all-time high, held. New high, held. New high, held. It just kept going. Now it's retesting it. Let's see how it does, right? But I would treat copper the exact same. All right, couple more coins, then I have to move on, guys, because we're an hour and 30 minutes in, and I've only done charts. And I got some other stuff I want to discuss. Internet Computer Coin. Internet Computer Protocol, one of the best names in all of crypto. Took out monthly lows, right? I'd say that's relevant. Joey Moose says, Duck Hunter, you're a sick puppy. You are a sick puppy. Yeah, I mean, I don't love the setup. I think there's better looking charts, cleaner looking charts. But I would argue, so long as it's holding above 280, right, which is this old monthly low, and then this demand here, you just assume that this is a retest and it's going to trade higher. Can we dump harder in Q4 if that's when stocks top and roll over? Yeah. Stocks haven't even pulled back yet. So if stocks pull back, Bitcoin is going to probably go down more. But there's a world, right, where stocks finally start to correct, but Bitcoin is already so far down that we will get an inversion point where, let me just draw. There will be a point where, again, stocks have gone up so much. Let's say they do this. Okay? Bitcoin will have already been so low that maybe there's going to be a point in time where stocks are going down and Bitcoin is accumulating. And that S&P BTC chart will actually reverse, and there'll be an inversion here where Bitcoin probably leads out of the bottom if I had to make a prediction. But yeah, yes, once this pulls back, it's not going to be great for Bitcoin. Where's Gambler's Theory? This man lied to me. Oh no. Potato futures 7x the previous month. No fucking way. What's the symbol for potatoes? Guys, I need the potato ticker immediately. Someone get me the ticker for potatoes. So yeah, there's my plan for ICP. Hold there, should be good. Yeah, we did hype already, bro. It's pulling back. If it's going to go, it's going to go. We talked about Link, right, as an opportunity to get out of stage 3 here. Had to maintain this uptrend. Failed to do so. So what does that mean? It means no stage 4 yet. Right? A lot of these coins look the same. This is what I told you about selection being so important. A lot of these coins can look like they're ready for stage 4 and then just rotate back into stage 3. So this is still in stage 3 for the time being. Still range bound for now. While some other alts are breaking out and look a lot better. So this is your risk. You might long Link, and by the time Link is finally ready to go, which it looked like it was right here, that was what I'd drawn out. I said, hey, this might be time to go. See if it can hold this retest. And then no, nuked, right? So what does that tell you? It tells you that Link is one of the weaker coins on the market. Someone give me the potato ticker. Go X. This is potatoes. I don't believe you. I mean, regarding copper, there's a lot of factors that may be bullish long term, like AI data centers need copper, electric cars use 4x more copper than normal cars, solar energy. Well, there you go. EXX. Guys, are you guys just making me look at random shit? What is the ticker for potatoes? Okay, we're gonna do the last stock request here with Sweet Greens, and looks like I gave you a long scenario on this, which was a pullback long idea. I don't remember when I did this. There's your 2025 low. There's your reclaim. So I said pullback is probably a long. So that's still, I think, what my analysis would be. I don't think anything's changed here. We took out last year's low. We broke out. I would like to see a pullback to long. Maybe the pullback only comes to here, right? Maybe it goes down to here. I don't know, but that's what I'd be kind of looking at. There's a bunch of different potato tickers. Okay, we're going to look at this one. Is this potatoes? XRO Resources. MPT is also potatoes. No, it's not. You guys are liars. All right, guys, we're going to move on from the charts. We've done an hour and a half of charts here, okay? So we'll be back again Thursday doing more charts, but that's a lot. I hope I covered a good amount of what you guys want. But that's all I'm going to do for charts at this point because I got to get on with this. It's fucking already 5 o'clock here, and I'm not even done the stream. So normally I'm ending by now, but we're going to be going on for at least 30 or so minutes because I got some other stuff I want to talk about. So thank you for all the requests, guys. If I didn't get your chart or your coin, I'll get to it next time, okay? Real quick, we got to give a shout out to Kraken Pro. Kraken, they are the sponsors of this show, okay? So if you want to support your boy, you need to go sign up to Kraken Pro. Right now, they have a bot challenge promo going on working with 3 commas. So 3 commas is an API tool that you can use to build all sorts of different bots, DCA bots, grid bots. You can backtest your setups, and then you can actually get paid for your trading volume with real cash rewards and fee rebates. So if you want to compete, it's very simple. Complete your first futures trades by using 3 commas. So you're going to connect your 3 commas account to your Kraken Pro account and take a trade. You will automatically get a free 1 month of 3 commas subscription plus a $25 bonus. And from there, based on the more volume that you do, the bigger bonus that you get. 50K volume gets you $100. If you hit 10K, 20K, and 50K volume, all 3 milestones, you get $200 and the free month. Okay. So yeah, the longer you stay, the more you get paid. 20% fee rebate kicks in after month 2. The campaign is live right now through to July 14th. So go make a bot, trade and make an SFP bot, make a DCA bot, do whatever you want. Use 3 commas, sign up with here, win some money, and support your boy TraderMain at the same time. All you got to do is connect 3 commas to Kraken, place a trade, and then you're live. That's it. So you can get some cash rewards and a fee rebate. Go to this website, kraken.com/pro/3 commas to check out and learn more. Obviously, guys, I need you to make sure you subscribe to the Order Book YouTube. I really appreciate it. I've been working really hard on the whiteboard series, on all these streams. So if you want to support your boy, the best way to do it is by going over and supporting me on these different channels here. So you can just go give this a follow. I'd really appreciate it. Make sure you go give a follow over at Instagram as well. The Order Book Show on Instagram. We're posting all sorts of clips here from the streams. So lots of stuff from the whiteboard series too. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter, which you can find in the description of all of these videos. And watch the whiteboard series. We now have 8 videos released. First videos, almost 20K views. I'm pretty excited. 19,000. And these are all going up. An entire video on order blocks is up. That went up just yesterday. We have order blocks, fair value gaps, ranges, SFPs, liquidity, all that kind of stuff. And we got more and more coming. I'm working really hard on these series. Look at that fucking jersey, hard as fuck. So if you want to support me, make sure you go watch these videos, y'all. Make sure we're trying to get to 100K on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for fucking 54 years. Still no 100K. Absolute retards on YouTube. 100,000, 500,000 followers. Your boy TraderMain, 70K. That's it. Feels low. So yeah, shout out to the sponsors. Shout out to all of you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Our boy Michael Saylor sold some Bitcoin. He sold some Bitcoin. He promised us he never would.
I thought you never sell your Bitcoin, Michael. I thought you never sell Bitcoin. I thought Bitcoin's going up forever. Well, it's not going up forever when you're selling it on my face. I sold my hyperliquid to my MicroStrategy. You piece of shit. What's hyperliquid at? Oh! Michael Saylor, you criminal! You told me to buy this shit and now it's going down! I put my life savings into this.
I would say valid crash out there from the boy Clemente. Listen, it was inevitable that this was going to happen based on the way that these products were built and his average buy price, guys. Michael Saylor started buying Bitcoin at 10K. His average is in the 70s. It's really bad. Like, it's really, 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 really bad. So, whether or not he continues to sell, I think it's an inevitability. He's going to have to. They have like 900 million in cash, and their monthly or their annual dividend commitment is more than that. It's more than that. How else does he get there? Either stops the dividend or sells. Bitcoin looks like it's going to go lower. This to me is a test transaction. Based on how much Bitcoin he owns, selling 32 Bitcoin for $2.5 million is a test transaction. I think to do two things: to gauge how badly people are going to freak out and how much this affects the market. You know, when you're sending money to a new address for the first time and the chart for Hacksaw Gaming lines straight down to zero. Actually, SEAL Team 6, if you want to join, me, Joey Moose, a few other guys, we have a class action lawsuit that we are starting against Wanted and Hacksaw Gaming. We've got a mountain of evidence. We're taking them to court. There's been damages and we'll be coming. I mean, the product's called Stretch, guys. As in, he's stretching reality here with what's possible. Furthermore, when you talk about it out loud, like, it sounds like a Ponzi. Now, do I believe the idea makes sense, assuming Bitcoin goes up over time? And we talked about this in one of the prior episodes with this idea of like, what does a life insurance company sell? Well, they're just selling the premium. The problem is his entry is so bad and he's accumulated so much Bitcoin and he's promised so much. There is no way out of this, I think, without some sort of unwind happening. But I think this is the test transaction. You get a new address, you send $10 before you send the 1,000. He's selling 32 to see what happens before he sells, 350 or 3,000. But yeah, inevitability, people are freaking out. Never sell your Bitcoin. Sell your kidney if you must, but keep the Bitcoin. I mean, there's a multitude of these different examples of him being like, never sell, putting out his weird cringe AI stuff, and then he sells. But he also said very openly a few times months ago, and we talked about this on some of the bets, being like, he's talked about having to sell Bitcoin to pay the dividend, and then you buy it back. I just think he's managed it very poorly. His average price is dog shit, but I don't care. Like I said before, I do not care if Michael Saylor sells his Bitcoin. I genuinely don't. The chart is all I care about. And I still think that the chart is in a good place and that we're likely going to bottom in Q4 of this year. And 40 to 60K Bitcoin is really good, deep fucking value. Michael Saylor selling, massive ETF inflows. To me, these are things that are going to happen near a bottom, not at the top. Okay? So I'm not fear-mongering, Jingo. I'm just talking regularly. If you consider this fear-mongering, I think you're a pussy. You need to toughen up, bro. This is not fear-mongering. I'm just talking about what's fucking happening. I am doing the exact opposite. I don't think Bitcoin's dead. I actually think we're approaching levels of really good value. And if Michael Saylor selling Bitcoin is what drives us to those levels, I'm very happy. Now, from a seasonality perspective, you can see summer, right? June, July, August generally is bearish more often than not, right? So like the average for June is down. And then the average for August, right, is pretty low. So we've had some good months. I'm not saying we haven't, right? But more red than green in August, right? More red than green in June. July has often been a month where we get a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of recovery. And I talked about it in the chart section earlier, right? Sell down in May, June, and then like a little bit of relief in July before ultimately lower, right? Same thing here. A little bit of relief in July, right? And then down again in August. Here we had a green month in July and then down, right? I would not be surprised if this is the exact same where we get, something like this. This is July. So seasonality wise, you can use something like CoinGlass to see, but historically summers are pretty low, right? In terms of returns, average less than 1, -1, 7, around 1, right? Whereas a lot of these other months are double digit here. Where do I think we bottom? October, November, December. Look at how often we have a green October. Look at the average return in November, 40%. Okay? So this lines up very well from a seasonality perspective too, with my thoughts on a bottom for Bitcoin.
Paramedics are in a full sprint trying to keep it from plunging
I think this
further
is a
down
lot
the
of people
steep,
right
dry
now.
hillside.
Catch it! Watch that drop! Cut left, got it!
You can see more mining. We're live
Don't
over
yell
Malibu,
at me.
where
This is not a
stretcher
vape.
has
This
slipped
is actually a
free from an
tool that you use to quit vaping. Doesn't actually blow anything out. It's called fume. 46 likes, not bad. Who wants early access to perps on OpenSea? I think nobody. There. Zachariah, Mr. Brenner. I think people who used OpenSea, like a lot of my friends who were giga NFT whales and were really kind of counting on an OpenSea airdrop and an OpenSea token, I think they would like that. They would like that a lot more than perps. I don't think anyone ever has said, you know what OpenSea is missing? The site that seemingly had all the opportunity in the world to be one of the biggest businesses in crypto during the NFT bull run and just failed miserably to do it by never giving back to the community, never doing the airdrop, right? And now NFTs are ostensibly dead. I don't think anyone ever in the history of the planet until you just now has said, who wants perps? You know what I would like? Perps on OpenSea. Nobody wants this shit, my dude. Give us an airdrop. Launch the token. Nobody wants perps. This does kind of go in line, right, with, I know, I do like a good Zin or a Zonic too. The CME, though, launching 24/7 trading for crypto futures and opt-in projects. They're bringing regulated crypto derivatives closer to the always-on nature of the digital asset market. Everything is going to be on-chain. Everything is going to have a perp. You're going to be able to short a perp of yourself, okay? So you're going to... You know that picture I was painting last episode? Let me lock in here for a second. Let me continue to... Like, everything's going on-chain. Everything's going perped. And I've talked about this in the past where it's like, whether or not you think Bitcoin and crypto is bullish just because of the chart, right? That's one aspect of it. But what's going on for crypto as a whole, blockchain technology as a whole, is it's very bullish. So there is going to be money made in this space. Maybe it won't be reflected purely in the price of Bitcoin alone. There will be other things, right? Like Hyperliquid, etc., where you can capture value, right? But things are bullish in crypto land. Everything's going on chain, okay? Everything's going on perps. What does this mean? No more CME gaps, which has been a very good strategy for crypto for a very long time. But more importantly, this is your future, okay? This is not an episode of Black Mirror. You go into Target, humanoid robots are the cashiers, okay? You go home, you talk to your AI girlfriend through Claude. All right? And you have a fleshlight attached to your wiener, and that's how you get your sexual gratification from AI porn, because you haven't talked to a real woman in years. You eat bugs, you live in a box, which you rent, you don't own, because you own nothing, but you're happy, and everything has a perp, right? Your mom's like, hey, we're having fucking bug turkey for dinner, like bug protein turkey for Thanksgiving, right? Genetically engineered turkey-sized cockroach. That's your Thanksgiving. And you're like, that sounds gross. I'm shorting the perp on your mother's dinner. You're going to be able to short perps on yourself. Everything's going to be a perp. And you're going to be locked in, eating bugs in a box that you rent. The only thing you talk to is your AI girlfriend through a fleshlight and Claude code. And when you go to Target, the rare time you leave your little box of a home, you get served by an AI-run humanoid robot which is a seed stage company of former NBA champion Tristan Thompson. That's the future. Now, for some of you, that might be an improvement. That might be an improvement over your day-to-day life. Me personally, I don't know. Not really looking forward to the whole eating bugs, living in a box, dealing with robot kind of thing. But hey, it might be inevitable. It might be inevitable. Everything's going to be a perp. Everything's going to be a perp. You can short your own life. The new form of insider trading, you short a perp of yourself and then you jump off the balcony in Minecraft. Insider trading, no? Yes? That's your future. Everything on chain, baby. I don't know where it's going with that one, guys. The laptop hasn't changed in 30 years. NVIDIA just changed it. So there's this new thing effectively launched by Jensen that is like a NVIDIA built laptop that has its own AI agent that lives within it. It's always on 24/7. There's no cloud. You're no longer using Anthropic or closed source. It's your own AI agent. And it's going to be super powerful. I mean, is this sick or no?
Okay. All right. A chip.
Like, it has a petaflop of local AI. Do you even know what a petaflop is? I don't. So I asked Grok. I said, Grok, what's petaflop? Well, a petaflop is more than a teraflop and less than an exaflop. It's like something to do with computing power. It's a unit of computer performance. Okay, yeah, it's Ready Player One, except for the girl that you meet in the VR world, in the Oasis, who's hot in the video game, and then you meet her in real life and she's also hot. That part of it doesn't happen. Instead, you meet someone in the Oasis in this online world, and then you meet them in person, and they're a humanoid robot run and owned by Tristan Thompson, former NBA champion with the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron James came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. Otherwise, it's exactly like that movie. It's like that movie, except for all the cool parts of that movie, that's not in it. It's just the shitty parts. So if this is real, we're not talking about a better laptop. We're talking about the beginning of your AI personal sovereignty. Your models, your data, your agent running locally 24/7. NVIDIA could be redefining what a computer is. Yeah, I mean, seems pretty cool. I do think that eventually these open source models are going to catch up to the closed source ones. They're obviously not there yet. If you're not trying to learn AI yet, you got to get on this shit, guys. I'm 43 years old. I'm not quite old enough that I don't have to give a shit. Like my dad, I tried to get him set up. He doesn't fucking really care. He uses Claude like advanced Google. You know what I mean? Like it does a few things for him, but it's basically like Google 2.0. Same with my mom. Like they don't really care, but they're old enough that they can just like not really have to learn. Kind of like the prior generation didn't really have to learn the internet. Like, you know, your parents, our parents, we had to learn. Like you got, if you're under 60, 70, you got to learn AI, bro. You got to figure it out. I wish I didn't have to know it. But you got to learn it. So I'm digging into the Claude fucking bullshit. And then when this kind of shit comes out, I'm going to be getting one and I'm going to be figuring out, how to do it. I'm going to be figuring out how to build my own model, my own agent, because I'm not doing that yet. I have Claude doing some stuff with cowork, like running me daily reports and like, scraping the internet for stuff. I've got it hooked up to my email, certain other things, but there's a lot of other stuff I'm not willing to let it do yet. Whereas I got friends who are like fully like their pants are off. They've given Claude everything. Right? They're hiding nothing. They have Claude sending money for them. Like that to me is nuts. So Jensen having his little Trump moment here. So he was at Computex in Taipei, And he mentioned that Marvell is going to be the next trillion-dollar company. It also so happens that Marvell and NVIDIA are strengthening their partnership. Remember what I talked about earlier, this clusterfuck incestuous orgy that's going on with all of these companies? Well, he mentioned that, and 17% on the day. Jensen literally, is talking about stuff, and NVIDIA's invested $2 billion just in March, and they're now adding billions to the market cap of a company just by mentioning it. Like, things are starting to get a little silly. I do think we're kind of becoming into like a post-numbers world, because like before, the idea of like a billion or a trillion, it was like, oh my God, it's so much. But it's almost getting so ridiculous that it's like these numbers have lost meaning. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Like, a trillion is going to be the new billion. Like, back in the day, right? When I was growing up, you were told if you make $100,000, you're set. You're rich. You're going to drive a nice car. You'll be able to afford a house. You have a couple of kids. If you can make 6 figures. Generation prior to that, it's like, hey, if you have a steady job and you make 40K, but like inflation, dollar debasement, everything is ramped so much. The money supply, it's like 100K is nothing anymore. Like 100K a year salary. I'm not saying it's no money, but like you're not buying a house. Thank you. I'm feeling lean, bro. You're not buying a house, right? You're not rich. You're not driving a fancy car. 100K a year in a major city, you're barely getting by. So I feel like we're seeing this same type of just like number inflation with these company valuations, investments. Like, what's $1 billion anymore? Like, it's just whatever. $1 trillion is going to become normal soon. So maybe these numbers just keep inflating. Now, back to my talk about the incestuous orgy. Like, if you are in California here and you just invested in every company that's on this fucking street, you'd be fucking worth all the money in the world at this point. Marvell, right? Arista, Bloom Energy, Micron, ARM, Microchip, and Sandisk, all on this same little stretch of highway here. What do you think the likelihood is that some of these, companies are, maybe a little too close to each other? Maybe there's no kind of Chinese firewall between some of these companies while there should be. You know what I mean? Like, talk about location. What a street. Topgolf, the only business that hasn't done well here, I think. HPE as well. There you go. What a neighborhood. So I'm going to be opening up the Trader Main headquarters right here, and I'm hoping just to get a little trickle down of the effects of all the good stuff that's going on everywhere else. Just let me get a little trickle. So what do you guys think NVIDIA will hit this year? Genuinely. Like, where does this thing stop? If ever. All-time high here. Break and hold. Order block. Right there. Is this not just going to go up again? By the end of June, it's June 2nd today, what do you think? Most people are betting on higher. Price right now is 222. Pretty much everyone is betting on higher than right now. Like 240? 240 seems inevitable, bro. I would say 240 feels like a lock. 1.8R. Or 0.8R, excuse me. Not 1.8. 0.8R. Not horrible. 250. How's that less? Oh, there's no volume here. That's why. You gotta be careful with some of these markets. If there's no volume, right? You gotta be careful. Yeah, like, but 250 seems inevitable. This volume also will ramp up. The month just started. This volume will ramp up as the month gets on. But I do think that 250 is just one push higher. I think that's pretty close. Annapurna, the next Indian Cuisines, the next $1 trillion company. But yeah, I think 250 and NVIDIA, pretty reasonable. So Google just announced an $80 billion capital raise to build AI infrastructure, and Berkshire Hathaway is writing a $10 billion check to get in. Again, does this shit end ever? Or does this bubble just keep bubbling forever? And people like me, who are at least smart enough not to short it, we're just going to watch it and be like, hey, this is fucked. And there's going to be people who go, well, this has to end. And these biggest companies in the world just keep having more money to do more stuff. I mean, Berkshire Hathaway putting in $10 billion. They're in a pretty cash-heavy position right now. Right? Pretty cash-heavy position right now. And they're like, hey, we're betting on AI. When's the top coming? How much longer can this go? And then Google is just like, brother, it's going to keep going. My brother sends me an update of his retirement portfolio every day because I told him back here. Where is it? I told him back here that I thought things were getting frothy, like back around the end of the year. And we pulled back and I looked right for a little bit. And then we just did this. And he's just like, hey, bro, numbers keeps going up, bro. I'm like, hey, I'm not stepping in front of the fucking train, dude. I'm not stepping in front of this fucking train. So similar to the NVIDIA market, this is brand new, right? This just got spun up yesterday, but you can start betting on where's Google going to be at the end of the month of June. $358 right now. I don't know, bro. 400, that crazy? I don't think it is. I don't think 400 or even 500 is that crazy. It just went up 30% in April. So it absolutely can go up 30%. 20% move would be 400. A new high would be 404. Let's see how these play out. We'll track these for the entire month. And we'll see, you know, as volume comes into these markets, how people start to position. Sandisk just hit 99 on the RSI, on the monthly chart. One of the most overbought levels in recorded history for any asset ever. I mean, again, what do you do? What do you do? You do nothing. You either do nothing or you buy every single dip until proven wrong. It's that easy. I would argue this is probably the next level to look at right here. Is it overbought more than any company ever? Like, yeah, but it can stay overbought and retarded longer than you can stay solvent. Keep buying dips until you're proven wrong, right? Not once has this thing broken daily structure. Not once on the daily chart, dude. Low. Like, it is not broken structure at all. So assume higher low. Right? I'm just going to assume higher low. The daily low is all the way down here. So we could retrace deeper into this move. But I don't know, man. Until it breaks daily structure, I'm just going to assume it keeps going higher. Crazy times. Crazy times. There's a pretty big story here. So if you guys know Citron, they write like, research pieces, things like that. So if you go, where's his response? I don't know. He wrote a response. But basically what he would do for a 5-year period is he would build up short positions, and then he would have an article published on the here we go, on the stock, right? And it like, this is a pretty big publication. This is something that people pay attention to. And so he would do things like say, hey, like I'm short NVIDIA, right? Okay, well, I'm going to tweet out Citron buys NVIDIA, price drops, he makes $900,000. He did this over 5 years to make over $20 million. Pretty crazy. So he was busted. I don't know how people think they can get away with this kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? And his argument is that, not once did I lie. The government's own agents admitted on the stand that there were no false statements. So now a truthful opinion that has ended up making money is illegal. Is this America? We disagree with the jury, and this does not stop here. We will keep fighting for free, honest speech and opportunity. It's the backbone of this country. Now, is there an argument to be made that like, hey, I can tweet something out, and if people decide to sell because of what I tweet and I make money on the short side, is that illegal? Right? Like, there's that Zach Morris guy. This is obviously on a different level with penny stocks, but like, if he said a penny stock on his Twitter, it would go up. He bought before, right? Arthur knows if he shills hype or some other coin, it's going to go up, and he's already filled it. So same with like Anson with meme coins. Like, is this illegal? Is this fraud? Is this market manipulation? But it seems pretty much like this is like kind of a classic pump and dump based on what he's doing. So using bold social media posts, TV interviews to try and manipulate a stock by lying, right? Like, that's the key. Is he's saying it's honest speech. It's like, if you buy NVIDIA, go for it. But if you buy NVIDIA and you tell people to buy NVIDIA, but you're short NVIDIA, that's when it becomes kind of not honest anymore. And, arguably market manipulation or like a pump and dump in reverse. So pretty crazy story. 21 million bucks. Fucking A. Claude is finally, Claude AI developer Anthropic, not Claude itself, but maybe Claude has, because that's how powerful this thing is getting, has confidentially filed for an IPO. My next question would be, does Anthropic know that Claude has done this? This has jumped up. So we've been monitoring this market for a while now, right? And just in the last month, this thing's gone from 50% to well over 80% that Anthropic is going to do its IPO this year. This is what I was kind of talking about earlier with this clusterfuck. $300 billion deal for data centers. They buy chips. They invest into Anthropic. Anthropic and Oracle have a deal. It's just kind of this incestuous circular clusterfuck. And it's like, does this end with a fire? Right? Maybe. I don't know. Let's not think about it. I find this hard to believe for two reasons. One, first of all, hilarious. So Microsoft, we talked about this in the last stream. Engineers were using Claude Code so much, the cost of the tokens and the AI they were using was outweighing the cost of the people they laid off. So can a robot write a symphony? Pay up, motherfucker. I ain't writing it for free. Microsoft bans Claude Code after AI costs more than the humans that replaced it. But doesn't Microsoft have their own AI model? Right? Like, don't they have their own AI model? Like, isn't Microsoft Perplexity or something like that? I don't know. Or is that Google? Tying into kind of what I was talking about before with just the, like, numbers are made up and gay now. Steph Curry's going to earn $1 billion on his 10-year contract with Li Ning. Okay? That's 4 times more than what he earned in his 12-year deal with Under Armour. This is tied to brand revenue, meaning the number could go even higher, and it's estimated that he might earn more than $1 billion over the 10-year span. Greatest shooter of all time, now getting paid like one of the greatest athletes of all time. I mean, this is $300 million is crazy. $1 billion is crazy, and this is kind of what I mean. Like, do numbers mean nothing anymore? Like, is inflation gotten this rampant that, like, look at the salaries that and contracts that athletes are getting now versus what they used to get. Look at what you need to make it work to be able to afford to live. Like, everything is just kind of gone to la la land. And where does this end? It ends with you in virtual reality, fleshlight on your penis, humanoid robot serving you your goy slop, and it's over. Like, that's where this ends. Steph Curry gets $1 billion, former NBA champion, 4-time champion, but he lost to Tristan Thompson in the 2016 finals. Tristan Thompson owns that humanoid robot that is serving you your goy slop. You're eating bugs served to you by a robot, dude. Mr. Beats jet winner arrested in Paraguay over a marijuana trafficking case. Jabari Brown won a jet competing in a Mr. Beast competition. He won estimated around $2.4 million and then used the plane to traffic marijuana. If this is true, fucking hilarious. If it's not true, I'm going to pretend it's true because it's way funnier if it is true. But yeah, guys, I'm going to say this. Things might seem grim. Things might seem grim. They might seem dark. Right? It might be depressing out there. Bitcoin's down. You don't hold any AI fucking stock. You know? You're dating a fucking robot. You're eating bugs. But at least the Oklahoma City Thunder got eliminated in Game 7 by Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. At least there is some hope out there that the OKC frauds aren't going back-to-back this year with their flopping antics, man. What a Game 7. Shea, I think, had his best game of the series, 35 points. But the Spurs were just too much. Oklahoma was missing 2 of their, kind of better guys. And Shea just had no help. Chet Holmgren, fucking pylon out there. They should trade him. But if you remember, your boy Maine bet on no on OKC. And I bet yes on the Spurs back in round 1. Because I didn't think that OKC had a 50-50 chance to make it. I thought those odds were bad. I thought those odds were too good to not take, I guess, because first round, you saying this team has a 50% chance of winning? I don't think so. And the Spurs beat them in the season series. I said, if anyone can beat them, it's the Spurs. The Spurs at 17 cents were undervalued. They won. Now it's Knicks versus Spurs in the finals. New York's going to be going absolutely insane. But I'm still on the Spurs, man. And the beauty of Polymarket is we've been in profit on this bet for a while now. I could cash out right now for 3 times my money. And the finals haven't even started yet. Game 1's tomorrow. World Cup coming up soon here, next couple of weeks. I'm probably going to go to one of these World Cup games in Vancouver. I think that'll be pretty fun. Canada's going to be playing. I can go watch my team, not win anything. But I'm excited, right? There's going to be some good games here. I love watching the World Cup. It's one of the few times I watch soccer. Who am I cheering for? I don't know. I mean, France is literally on fire right now. Like, France is quite literally on fire right now because of, I think PSG won the league. God knows what happens if they win or lose in the World Cup. Last but not least here, guys, we've got the mayoral election in LA. Karen Bass is the favorite. I don't know if any of the results are coming in yet. Like, are any of the results in yet? I don't know. I can't seem to see any votes yet. But the elections today, the polls close at 8 p.m. Western. I would love for Spencer Pratt to win, but it seems like Karen Bass is the favorite and the incumbent so far. I sent a tweet out here. I'm like, is there value here at 5-1? Because like you could bet $1,000 on Pratt, pays out over 4K. And like, I wonder if like this is a media hit job where they definitely don't want him to win because he's a straight white male and he's a reality TV star. But if you listen to him talk, he's like, hey, how about we just make LA not a shithole anymore? These assholes managed the city so poorly, my house burnt down. I want to clean up all the drug addicts that are hanging around parks, doing drugs in front of kids. I want to punish criminals. Like, it's a pretty, I think, moderate platform. I don't think it's that crazy. But they're calling him like MAGA because he wants to clean up the city. God forbid. LA used to be beautiful. Now many parts of it are unlivable shitholes. But yeah, let's re-vote in the person who was in charge and undersaw all of the mismanagement during the fires and all that other stuff. I would love for Pratt to win. I wonder if there's like a Trumpian-like effect here where the media and the polls are just wrong. But she seems to be the favorite for now. We'll probably see how that results tomorrow, but I don't know. Is there a little bit of juice here? A few people in the comments are like, no chance. Like, what is this guy talking about? If I wasn't a U.S. American, I would take this. The danger of CA voters are just as retarded as Canadian voters. Very true. Yeah, like, are you sick of this shit? Vote for Spencer Pratt. But this guy says 0% chance he wins. LA is super corrupt. 40% of their voter base are born outside of the U.S. Buying a no is the freest money ever. So I guess we'll see. All right, guys, that was a really long stream, but I hope it was helpful. Over 2 hours, guys. I'm out here working for you. So if you want to support your boy, the easiest way to do it, click the link for Polymarket below. Click the link for Kraken below. Go to my website, tradermain.com, join the free newsletter, join the free Discord, join the free Telegram. Go to breakoutprop.com, buy an evaluation. Our cheapest one's $20 now. Use code MAIN for a discount. And that's it. That's all I ask for. Or don't do any of that. Just like and retweet and share the videos, guys. I love you all.